Okay, so let's go again. An FM. I mean, let's try this idea of the prophylaxis docking computer again. Just see if I can get a strong position. Actually, can I not just grab the dark square bishop here? This isn't an IMSO, so I can usefully just try and get the diagonal anyway. So I've collected something already, so I'm sort of ahead. So if I can use prophylaxis just to strengthen what I do have, which does seem to be a tangible asset, then that would be pretty cool if I get a nice position here. So prophylaxis docking computer, new guy on the scene. So I want to be against E4, so I'm going to play E4, but I weaken D4. I know that I weaken D4, and that could be fatally weakened. But I'm thinking, knight E2, I castle, and I later play for H3 and F4. I try and blast the diagonal later, so suspend that threat. I'm hoping A4 is not a big deal. I just play B4. So castles and F4. But H3, H3 might be useful to stop again, these things. There's no threat on this diagonal at the moment, but H3 will still be useful anyway, and maybe King H2 and F4. And if he takes, maybe, he's opening up that bishop. So I'm ready to play F4, but is D5 going to be a problem? So he's trying to get some counterplay over there. So maybe F4 here, knight G4, but his queen, D5 and queen C5 would try and win the exchange. So again, H3 would be a kind of prophylaxis against knight G4. But it's hardly, you would hardly say that's a prophylaxis docking computer, but it's against forcing moves, D5, Queen C5 and Knight G4 that I've just played that. So now I can play F4, I'm trying to open up that diagonal, but he's got B4 to suppress my Queen and Bishop battery. Now I can take away from the centre here. C5? Is E4 a big problem? I'm not completely sure. It takes away C5 for a manoeuvre like knight E6 to D4. And if I can play Queen E3 there, which I think I can, then this might be very attractive. No, I can't. Or can I? It takes Rook F4. So can I play Queen D3? Or Queen C2? I can give it a shot. Queen C2. He'll probably take, but he's opening up my diagonal. I've still got Rook F4. No, he's winning a clear pawn here. I've blundered. Ouch. And this E5, forcing move E5, and there's knight E5, protecting the bishop. Otherwise, E takes F6 is interesting. Queen takes E2. So that's interesting. Queen C3 doesn't quite work. Knight C3. Knight C3 just holds up E4. I think I'm going to play this because maybe it doesn't matter. It's like a pawn sack in the King's Gambit. If I play Rook E1 and Knight D5, mind you, it's two pawns. If I can get one of them back, can I strengthen E4? So Knight D5 here. Trying to open up this bishop and close his bishop in. So the question here is, can I pick up one of the pawns like with Queen C3? So if I can get to play Queen G3, it's only one pawn down, but A4 would have been good against A4. Oh dear. Mind you, he's got B3 as a target, so I can play B4 here. C4 is going to be vulnerable. I think it's worth playing A4 before Queen G3. But there's Queen G6 then. So do I allow him A4 there? It looks kind of destructive. Mind you, Bishop E5. I'll take it. Get my pawn back. So Queen F4 for Bishop E4 maybe later. Or do I play Bishop E5? Or King H1, Bishop E4, Rook G1, that sort of thing. I'd end up sacking C4 if he plays A4. I really just want to play A4. He's giving me a chance here. There's also Rook E3 to G3. I think that's tempting as well as King H1. Bishop e4, king h1, bishop e4, because then bishop f5 protects h3, and also bishop e6 might be tempting. Oh, that's a real pain. Okay, so problems here. Rook e3 now. There might be knight g4. It's all getting a bit murky. We're just taking... my position is too loose. I think this is a goner actually. I think I've messed this up, but I'll try and remain a bit optimistic here. If I can get rook g3 in, there might be some pressure for the pawn. This bishop has been successfully made quite bad actually here. Let's see, and a4 remains a positional threat. So he takes the queens off, I guess. Then he plays something nasty. Not knight c4, maybe knight f7. How do I get counterplay? So a4 remains a horrible threat. That bishop e5 here, just knock out that horrible knight, which is superior I think to the bishop now, and try and get a solid position here. Is a4 a threat? I think I will play a4 here and hope for the best. Mind you, no, I'll bring the king in actually. I'll let him play a4. I mean, maybe b4 is worth playing here. Or arranging the rook to go for b4. So rook b2, b4. This is the only sort of strategic break available here. Bit depressing. So I'm going to lose another pawn. Is he going to give me a passed pawn? He's going to play a4. a4 is probably annoying. I'm getting him down on the clock a little bit anyway. So king g3. Actually, can I for a draw here? It is Petrosian day. No, I don't think he wants to draw. Okay, so if I check in and rook here to play rook c6. So h4. Oh, he's got king f5. Right. And it's looking pretty miserable actually, this game now. And rook c6 again. He just protects it now, right? So I'm not going anywhere fast. It's difficult, it's tricky. Try and win this d pawn anyway. Try and remain behind this pawn for king e2. So rook. If I'd be annoying with the rook, try and cut the king off. And the king's going over there. That's a shame. We're winning another pawn. It's looking fairly hopeless now. Time to resign, I think. So much for the prophylaxis. Oh dear. Let's just see the final. Yeah. That went really wrong with f4. I just gave him everything on a plate by playing f4. I had a strong position. I actually took away my strengthening of e4 here. When he took the c4 pawn, if I had taken b takes, then there's not a problem. E takes f4. Major problem here that I've actually taken away some of the strength of my e4. So just taking wouldn't seem that bad. I just lose a4 a bit, and you knight c5. Yeah, that was a nice position. Maybe. That's a real shame. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks so much.